Hey guys, so for a while now I've been dealing with translations, and I looked at quite a few libraries as well as doing them natively in Angular using their I18N localization API that they have built. I didn't really like it. There's a couple fallbacks to the default Angular aspects, such as having to have multiple builds by environment and needing full page refreshes to get to change translations and things like that. So I started looking at other alternatives, and I came across Transloco, which is made by I'm butcher his name, Nathaniel Battelle. Anyhow, I see he always has lots of good stuff, and currently it's downloaded like 20,000 times a week, and it's growing in popularity, and it's quite powerful. It does everything we want it to. It's very clean. You also can lazy load it, and has fallbacks and pretty much everything that we want, and it supports Ivy, which is nice because that just came out in Angular 9 and not everything does. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to take my simple little website, dylanisrael.com, and we're going to add translations to it, and we're just going to do it in English and Spanish, and I'm going to show you how to set up Transloco so that you can get it going in your application. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Hey guys, before we jump into the video, I just wanted to do a shout out to my 100 front-end interview question challenge. We're coming up on 1,000 students. It's got a 4.5 score, and it's there to help you land those front-end interviews. We cover HTML, CSS, JavaScript, also some tricky questions about the cultural interview with some resume prep. It's over almost 10 hours of content, 125 lectures, a lot of good previews on here. So if you're interested, check it out. There'll be a link in the description below, as well as a pinned comment. Let's go ahead and jump into the video. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. To do that, we're going to add ng neat at Transloco here. So let me zoom in a little bit. But this might take a second. If you had any issue where it was saying... So I had an issue with this. I want... What languages do you need? Server side, no. We might have to change our config there. Sometimes it gets a little wonky. But if you had an issue where it wouldn't install, what I had to do is I had to reinstall my package lock a lot of times. Now, you're going to see a couple files here. One, you're going to see this I18N where I butchered what we actually wanted was a en.json. And we'll go ahead and create another one. And we want to create a es.json. So if you didn't put it in correctly like I just did there, that's all you have to do. Now, those are going to be our files. The other thing, let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit, is that we're going to have these configuration files. This Transloco root module, this is where all of our configuration is going to happen. Now, in my case here, I'm going to go ahead and add Transloco as a word to my spell check, as well as ng neat real quick so that I don't have to deal with this in this project with my spell check. Now, for available languages, we want two things, en and es. And for the fallback language, we want en. So a lot of cool functionality where you can define what languages are acceptable. And you can also go ahead and fall back to English if it doesn't have that, if it doesn't have something for that language. Now, you can see remove this application as support changing language and runtime, blah, blah, blah. Basically what this means here, what this comment means is that if you want to update your content, if you want to be from English to Spanish without doing a full page reload, we're going to go ahead and set this to true. So we have all this set up, and it's all really for this little bit of config and this implementation of the Transloco loader. What this is saying is go ahead and get the translations from this root directory, which if you notice where our es.json is and our en.json, that's where it is. It's an assets I18N, so on and so forth, and then the app module. All we're doing is we're going to go ahead and import that Transloco module. So that ng add really does a lot for us. And then we have this config.json, put our en es. This would have been in here as well. But I messed it up on that install. No big deal. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just start the application so you can see what's there. But to give you an idea, if we go over to dylanisrael.com, just a basic one-page site, nothing crazy. And what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to change this from English to Spanish, set that up in your application. We're also going to show you how to inject words dynamically for certain parts of it that you may not have. And that'll make a little bit more sense in just a second. So while we're at it, you can see if we go to launch our browser preview, localhost colon 4200. Here is our application. Very cool. Now, we have courses, resume, and DevFest slides. Let's get started by actually just defining our JSON in English real quick. Now, the convention that is followed, from what I can tell with the translocator, is to either do camel case or to follow uppercase. We're going to do camel case in this upper underscore case, I guess. I forget what that would be. But in our case, we're going to have a navigation. This is JSON again. Navigation. Navigation is going to be an object. And in there, we're going to have courses. And in English, this is going to be courses, right? That's what it's going to be put out as. And here, we're going to have resume. All right, cool. And then here, we're going to have resume. So far, so good. And then here we're gonna have we'll call this DevFest, and just for the intent of showcasing how we might do something like this, we're going to have these curly braces that are going to take in a param. What this conference is in here is saying this is a param, and then slides, right? So we're going to say, hey, pass in a param, and then just concat slides in for the English. Now that we've done that, let's go ahead and copy and paste this over to here. And we'll go and use our translate, the Google Translate, to get that. You can see right here when I was prepping for this video, we already have slides. So let's do that. And let's do the same for resume. We get the old curriculum. And when we do courses, that will be the last one that we'll do. Oops. And I apologize if Google Translate isn't the best here. It's just I don't speak Spanish, except me llamo Dylan and tu madre es una something naughty. That's about the extent of my Spanish. All right, so you can see we have our Spanish translations and our English translations. Now, to be able to use these in our template, now that we have all this initial setup that we talked about here with the app module, is let's just go to our navigation component.html, and we can see it. Now, all we're going to try and do is replace courses here with the Transloco. There's a couple different ways that we can do this. The first way is to pass in a string, and this is not the preferred way, but sometimes you have to do this when you're dealing with objects and magic strings coming in. So I had a sidebar navigation that I have a magic string for what the translation key is, and you have to do it in ways like this. But you can see here we have a string, and in here we would have navigation dot courses, and all we would do here is throw a pipe on it called Transloco, and we save it. You can see it's still courses there, right? Everything's working. Just refresh the page. Very cool. The other way, and the preferred way, is you would use an ng container. Now I'm going to go ahead and wrap my application here in ng container. An ng container in Angular is just something to group stuff together. It's very similar to a span, except it doesn't render in the DOM. You'll see like a little comment here. And what we're going to do is we're going to have this transloco direct structural directive. And on here, we're just going to create a let text. You can call it let text, let trans, whatever. Let t. A lot of people like to do let t. I like to do let text. It's somewhere in between. Now, all we do here, same thing, except now it's text dot navigation dot resume. And we save it. Everything is not working. Let's see why that's not working. If we go over here and we refresh. Can I read property resume if undefined? Text.navigation.resume. Let's go back at our why aren't you working, my friend? Transloco. Let's see here. Did I copy that over wrong? I don't think so. Interesting. What don't you like about this? I see that the version that I use is slightly different. This is currently version 2. I was working in version 1, so slightly different, but not a big deal. So the way that we're going to do this other translate is just like so. So instead of passing it in, we would do a little function of invocation here. We'd go ahead and wrap that in a string. And you can see we get our resume. Now, the third and final way that you'd go about tackling this so that you could see like, oh, hey, how do I pass in the DevFest slides? Pretty straightforward. You might have already guessed how you might do it since we're using a simple function here. In our curly braces, we have our text, and then we're going to pass in our key, which is going to be navigation.resume. Except now we're going to pass in some parameters, which are going to be object. Now this is going to directly match, if we go to en.json, what we called here. So we're going to have an object that comes in with a conference property. And on that conference property, we're going to pass in what it is that we want, which in this case is DevFest. So we save that. Oh, this is DevFest. Go ahead and save it. Bam! Now we have all our slides coming through. You're like, okay, Dylan, it's the same as before. But yeah, but it's coming from a translation file. And I'll show you real quick how we can verify that by adding a simple update. Now, this is just going to be a temporary placeholder till the next video. But what we'll do here is we'll create this public, and we're going to do the what do they call it? The translator service. Give me 1 second. I forgot to put this, the Transloco service. Everything's the Transloco service. So we'll just call this the translate service. And this will be Transloco service. Very nice. So now that we have access to that, let's create a public method here called update. And then this dot translate service dot set active lang. We're going to set to the ES. All right, so that's going to refresh. We're just going to throw a little button here so we can see what it's supposed to do. A little button says update, and it's going to call a method we're going to trigger on click called update. Very nice. And now when we click update, oh, I was like, that was definitely supposed to work. Save that. There we go. Now when we click update, what are you doing? What happened here? Ah, I see. I'm a silly goose. I put the update method in our app component instead of I put it in our navigation component here, but we just wanted to throw this in the HTML for demonstration purposes. Silly goose. But now when we click update, voila, there we have it. And you can see that not only did it translate it, was curriculum the same thing? I might have forgot to translate curriculum. Let's go to our es.json, but it also slotted it in as we would have expected. Curriculum. Oh, yeah, it's there. It's different. Oh yeah, resume. But now we were able to not only set up easy translations here, we're also able to swap them in. And in the case where we don't have one, let's just say we do something like this, it should fall back to English. So let's go back into here and let's just take this out. Save it. It's going to refresh. We do update. Why won't it update? A fallback language must be provided in the config. It is. Oh my goodness. Oh, we forgot to add our fallback language. So you have this config here. Fallback language is English. So when we tried to update it, now we can. Let's go ahead and update. You can see it did not fall back properly. All right, so I'm not sure why this has to be turned on, but let me show you a little bit. I debugged a little bit here, and I thought I had set this up earlier, but apparently I did not, but we'll do it together. So what we need to do for it to fall back properly is we need to add one more config here. We need to add the fallback language, and then missing handler use fallback translation. Now, if there's a key that's missing that's not there, go ahead and fall back to go and get it. So that's basically what's happening there. But that solves the issue of it falling back, which you can see now is it's going to go and get that English translation. But so we're able to fall back, we're able to update, we're able to do dynamic inserts, and we're able to translate it in various ways. So lots of cool stuff. Once you get that initial config out the way, everything's pretty easy and straightforward. We're able to add various ways to translate. Now from here, probably what you're wanting to do is you're probably wanting to have it persist. You're wanting to have a better option than this ugly little update button. And we'll do that in part 2, where we'll actually go and use a flag library that I've used in numerous projects. That's free. That's really great. And we'll create a nice little drop down so that you can translate it. And at that point, I'll probably just go and actually, maybe in a part 3, I'll show you how to actually do like HTML. So you can see these links and these classes. I'll showcase how to actually do translations of inner HTML as well. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to check out my latest course, the 100 Front-End Interview Questions Challenge, to make sure that you ace those front-end interviews. Smash that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.